Welcome, guys, to a new tutorial. Today we are talking about simple tricks on how to let your kick shine through the mix. But why is it so important? In most electronic genres, the kick is the most powerful and leading instrument. Beyond the bass, the kick is what people are waiting for. In some genres like hardstyle, the kick is even more critical. The problem most producers are facing is that beyond all those other instruments, sometimes the kick does not shine through the mix. Instruments like a pad or a bass could use the same frequency range. Once this happens, basically, the louder instrument wins. At least without some mixing. And this leads me to the first trick. Side chaining. Side chaining is probably the most effective and most often used technique to help instruments shine through the mix. The simple principle behind side chaining is that every time a sound is playing, another instrument will be reduced in volume. You could do this with simple volume automation, but this could be very time-consuming. The easier way is to use a ducking VST. Ducking automates the volume of a track in a specific rhythm. So, for example, when your kick hits every 1/4, you could automatically duck the volume with tools like Nicky Romero's Kickstart or Volume Shaper from Cable Guys. With these tools, you could even change the volume automation length to fit perfectly with your kick. A more flexible way is to use a compressor. With a sidechain signal, you could trigger the compressor, for example, on the bass, every time your kick hits. This technique is the most popular and probably used in every successful song in the last decades. Let's go on with tip number 2. It is about the transient. The transient is the sound that appears on a kick in the first few milliseconds in the higher frequency ranges of a track. This could be a click sound or even a hi-hat. But why is a kick layered with such a sound, and why is it so important? Humans are naturally more sensitive in the mid and high frequency range. We basically hear those sounds louder than lower frequencies. And this natural phenomenon could we use to our advantage. Instead of boosting the kick volume, we could only raise the higher frequencies. As humans are more sensible in the higher frequencies ranges, a slight boost can make a huge difference. Another great way is to use a transient designer. With transient designers, you can change the volume of the attack or the sustain. Boosting the attack does have a similar effect to your track. But please be careful to increase only the frequencies in the very high frequency ranges where the transient is located. Otherwise, you will boost other parts as well. Let's go to the third tip. Load a compressor on the whole track. Using compression on the whole track is not a regular part of the songwriting or mixing process, but an effective mastering technique. Once you are going to master your track, you probably notice that your kick is not loud enough compared to other instruments. A compressor could be great to fix this problem. By loading a compressor and setting a longer attack time and a short release, you give your transients the possibility to shine through. So what happens is that the compression takes place once a signal passes a specific threshold. By setting a longer attack time, the compression affects not the transients. But before you use one of the mentioned techniques, take a look at your volume control. Setting the right volume for every instrument is probably the best way. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the following video.